You're listening to Thursday Night AMP on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Thursday Night AngryMarks.com Pro Wrestling and Mixed Martial Arts Podcast. My name is Stevie J. Got two co-hosts on the line today, and possibly a third one later in the evening, but we'll see if he calls in. But first, let me start out by introducing the Queen of Extreme, the woman who knows more about New Japan in a day than I'll know in a lifetime, the one and only Abby.
Good evening, everybody.
Good to have you on, and sorry if you spilled a few things when I called you.
Oh, it's okay.
All right. Well, as long as you're not mad, I'm not worried about it. So we'll just move on and introduce the other co-host of the evening, the great Sudoku, Jason Harlan.
I got a great deal today on Ric Flair's Rolex and his Hall of Fame ring.
Okay, what did you pay for them?
I'll buy that for $1.
No, this isn't RoboCop. Seriously, what was he selling them for?
Oh no, it's Natalia that was selling them.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess she's got to hawk him to get Dad out of debt?
Maybe, yeah, those, or her uncle out of debt for those hospital bills, maybe.
That could be too. Well, either way, we'll move on from that because we're not going to talk about Payback just yet. We're going to talk about Dontaku, a much better card, and quite frankly, a much more important card. And for that, I'm going to turn the floor over to you and Abby and let you go to town. I'll interject periodically.
All right, I got the card up in front of me. I guess we'll just run these matches down one by one and give our takes on them. We start off Dontaku with a 8-man tag team match. David Finlay, Jay White, Ryusuke Taguchi, and Tiger Mask took on the Chaos Mismatch team of that's the second match. The first match was Captain New Japan and Juice Robinson taking on the Sleaze and Bad Luck Fale, and it was such a quick match, that's why I almost forgot about it. Captain New Japan, of course, ate the pin, and Fale picked it up. Was there anything you wanted to add to that, Abby?
It was all of 2 minutes and 36 seconds, I think. Either 2 minutes and 26 or 2 minutes and 36, which is what every Captain New Japan match needs to be.
It was an opening match, and it was quite forgettable. It was quick, and it was like done in a heartbeat. It was over and done with. It's like, oh, well, yeah, Captain New Japan's not out there anymore. Yay.
And that's kind of what Fale's matches need to be, too. I mean, because he's lost in the shuffle. He needs to be that monster that goes out there and just kills people in a couple of minutes, and that's it.
And compared to most people in New Japan, Bad Luck Fale is a giant. Yes, he should be going out there and crushing people in 3 minutes or less.
Mm-hmm.
And he got the lifting lariat, the Samoan spike, whatever you want to call it. He decapitated Captain New Japan with that, picked up the pinfall victory. Yeah, the match I was thinking of that was the opener was actually the second one. Finlay, White, Taguchi, and Tiger Mask taking on Gato, Will Ospreay, Yoshihashi, and Kazushi Sakuraba. And the only thing I have to say about this is, damn, I am glad they signed Will Ospreay to what is like a 2-year deal now, because he was money in this match. He was hitting some high-flying aerial acrobatic moves in this match, and he's just damn fun to watch.
Yeah, they did sign him for a 2-year deal. Hopefully he'll still be able to work in Progress and Rev Pro and on the European circuit. Yeah, this was basically a match to introduce him for those that missed his match against Kushida, and probably this is where he should have started out to begin with.
Speaking of people who've been signed, I hear Jay White is going to have an extended stay with Ring of Honor now.
Yes, I think that's his year-long excursion deal.
Exactly, where the young lion goes and learns his ways, applies his craft in other places, and then comes back to New Japan a bigger deal than he left.
That's like now Sho and Yohei are down in Mexico is, what are their names down there?
Raijin and Fujin.
Yeah,
Fujin and Raijin and CMLL.
Well, at least this should clear up the idea of Jay White and David Finlay wrestling each other to infinity, with David Finlay always taking the pin, now that Jay White's going to be gone for a while.
But poor David Finlay, he ended up eating the pin in this one. It's like, what did he do to piss Gato off?
I think he might be gone from New Japan now, too. I don't know if he's going on excursion or what, but that little cryptic tweet that he posted after Dontaku, that was kind of, okay, well, what's going on since you're saying peace out to Japan and coming back over here?
It's my favorite thing in the world, vague tweeting and vague booking. I just love that so much.
Well, I wouldn't have read much into David's tweet if, Jay hadn't responded to it saying, farewell, man, it's been real.
So he's either playing along or something's up, but we'll just assume playing along.
Hopefully.
I couldn't blame Finlay if he did left, because they have been just having him lose and lose and lose and lose and lose. It's just not fair. He's just got so much talent that he puts on a show, but he always ends up flat and on his back counting the lights.
I wonder if he will end up somewhere kind of like, in Orlando, considering who Daddy is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing him in NXT. I would prefer to see him other places, but
I would prefer probably to see him in Ring of Honor than I would NXT, but as long as he doesn't end up in TNA, just if you're listening to this, David Finlay, do not go to TNA. Just don't.
Nobody needs to go to TNA. Everybody needs to leave TNA. TNA needs to cease to exist.
Yes, indeed. Nothing was more exemplary of that than Rebel versus Shelly Martinez. But
yeah, I knew you were going to get that in there somewhere.
He couldn't resist. He had to work it in.
Had to work that in somehow. I couldn't let 2 weeks go by without bringing that up on the air. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about New Japan.
Yes. I think everything that there is to say has already been said about that match anyway.
Yeah, except there were a bunch of people on Twitter afterwards that really jumped on Sakuraba's case. Like, why is he there? What does he add to anything? He's boring. And it's like, oh, no. I did not understand where all that came from.
He's not boring. Sometimes, especially in multiple-man tag team matches, he can get lost in a shuffle. If it's just him and another guy in a tag match, it tends to be fine because he'll tend to work his shoot style against another guy on the other team who's either strong style or shoot style. But yeah, when you put him in there with guys that are so mismatched with him, especially in an 8-man tag, he can get lost in the shuffle. But no, this is the Gracie Killer. This is Kazushi Sakuraba. This guy still has it. He doesn't need to hang it up. He is a draw. He is exciting to watch. You Twitter people don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Okay, then.
Does that about sum it up?
Yeah, that sounded good.
Okay. Yeah, we'll move on to Matt Sydal and Ricochet challenging Roppongi Vice for the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championship. This match, to me, it was a great match, but the wrong team won.
I don't know if they won because Rocky was hurt. Either he was selling incredibly well during the match or he was legit hurt with his shoulder taped up.
Yeah, he came to the ring with the shoulder taped, and I don't know what that was from. Maybe one of the Road 2 shows, but...
Well, I guess this might put to rest all of the talk of Ricochet to WWE.
Yeah, hopefully.
It was a good match. It was a really good match. These two teams, I don't think, can have a bad match, but I just didn't like the hot-shotting of the title.
Yeah.
Because it seemed to be a trend on the rest of the show.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering what you guys were going to think about that when I read the recap Jason wrote. I'm like, holy shit, there were a lot of title changes on this show.
I was kind of griping about that on Twitter, too, at the time. Yeah, luckily they didn't do it with all of the titles, but with a lot of the titles, especially the ones that have been getting hot-shotted lately, like the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championship. It's like, really, Sydal and Ricochet, they're kind of gelling on me as a team. I like the finisher that they've been using, the simultaneous shooting star presses, but really, Roppongi Vice had just picked up these titles. This was their first defense, and they dropped the belts.
Yeah, I didn't follow the logic of that at all.
It would seem to me that this would be the time, especially after the exodus of the beginning of the year, that New Japan would want to kind of start legitimizing stars and legitimizing championships and getting some stability back in place instead of hot-shotting everything every other show or every show.
I agree. If you're going to build a feud, too, even if you want to build a feud between Matt Sydal and Ricochet, taking on Roppongi Vice, have Roppongi Vice keep the titles, have Matt Sydal and Ricochet come close, but not quite get them, and have them keep chasing for the titles.
And I just really didn't get why it just didn't make sense to me. I was kind of disappointed in the finish.
Yeah, it was a great match. There were great high spots. There was, the Doomsday device. There was the Dude Buster. There was DDTs. There was this and that. But yeah, the wrong team ended up winning because this was kind of like Dontaku, aka Night of Hotshot titles. Which kind of transitions well into our next match because we had another title match, the Never Six-Man Tag Team Championship match. We have the champions Yoshitatsu, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Michael Elgin. Stupid hair, stupid Tana.
Hate Tana. Actually, no, I don't hate Tana. I just hate his hair.
And his air guitar.
Yeah.
And his braids. And his ponytail.
Yeah.
They were taking on the Elite, Kenny Omega, Nick Jackson, and Matt Jackson. And once again, we have a title hotshot.
Which I don't get. I mean, why isn't New Japan focusing more on the IC championship? I don't understand what they're doing with Omega.
I mean, I guess they would have had it on the show that was canceled because of the earthquake, but they had to move it to the Road to show, that defense. I mean, unless you want to have Kenny Omega pull double duty in one night and work a 6-man tag and then have a singles match for the IC title.
No, but what I'm saying is I don't even know why he's in these matches.
Oh, why he's in the 6-man tag.
Maybe I don't know why he's...
on him. I don't know.
Well, they keep taking him off of him and putting him on somebody else, so I don't understand. Of course, I do have... Go ahead.
I was going to say, this one I don't have as much of a problem with, number one, because at least the Elite are a 3-man unit, and Omega and the Jacksons, the Young Bucks, at least they are a 3-man unit, and they seem a better fit to hold a 6-man title than this ragtag bunch of New Japan guys thrown together in Yoshitatsu and Hiroshi Tanahashi and Michael Elgin. It just, they didn't quite seem very cohesive as a team. It just kind of seemed, well, let's put the titles on these guys, where I think it makes more sense to put it on a unit of 3 guys that work together like the Elite.
Yeah. Of course, probably my favorite part of the match was the Young Bucks gear.
Where they were wearing gear with their faces. Every square inch of their gear had pictures of their faces on it. Like, postage stamp size faces of the Young Bucks all over their gear.
I was kind of making fun of it on Twitter, and I tweeted something to Matt, and I said, yeah, the next thing you know, we are going to have a t-shirt like this. 2 days later, what do I get? A tweet back from him saying, here it is. Yes, they're putting out a t-shirt with their faces all over it. It's almost scary.
It is kind of modern art scary looking. And after the match, of course, Tanahashi has to challenge Omega once again to an Intercontinental title match, and Omega says the answer is no, but if Tana wants to have a ladder match, the answer is yes, because he wants to bring ladder matches and sports entertainment to Japan.
I don't know if it's a good idea to have Tanahashi with his bad back in a ladder match.
Yeah. I mean, I could see him taking a really high risk and going from the ring on a ladder, doing a high fly flow to the outside of the ring, and yeah, that's just a recipe for disaster.
He's had a bad back for years and has been working through it, but I mean, putting him in a ladder match, that's one of New Japan's biggest stars, and what's going to happen if he falls wrong and then all of a sudden, hey Gato, this whole sports entertainment thing didn't really work out too well for you.
Right, and then you got to star on the shelf for a year or more.
Plus, I just don't like the idea of a ladder match in New Japan.
It seems a little WWE for New Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, King of Sports is not supposed to be King of Ladder Matches.
Or King of Sports Entertainment.
No.
Yeah, it's not King of Sports Entertainment.
Let's save the ladder matches for DDT, shall we?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, get the blow-up doll in there, the squid ink, all that other good stuff, the bubble machines. Just kind of keep it out of New Japan.
Right.
Ladders and bicycles and water guns. Yeah, that's not New Japan. You can have that in DDT or Big Japan, but this isn't sports entertainment. This is strong style.
I just have a bad feeling about the ladder match.
Yeah, and it's like, and you don't want to see somebody like Tana go down, especially with all the talent that they've lost. They really do need him to be there to put other stars over, and having him out would hurt the company a lot. To lose another big name.
As hard of a time as I give Tana about his hair and, the braids and the ponytail and what else do I give him a hard time about? The air guitar. I don't want to see him get hurt. I respect the guy and the career he's had. I don't want to see him put that on the line in a stupid ladder match.
And we'll have to see how that plays out, I guess, going forward, if they're going to do anything with that, maybe for Dominion. Maybe we'll see on the road to Dominion. It'll be on hiatus, if they'll tease it a little bit during the non-Super Juniors matches during the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. We'll just have to see how that plays out.
Poor Tana.
Poor Tana. We'll move on to the next match. We had another championship on the line, the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, the Gorillas of Destruction, or Destiny, or whatever they call themselves, God. Tama Tonga and Tongaroa taking on Tomoaki Hanma and Togi Makabe, and in this one, guess what? The title didn't get hot-shotted. The champions actually retained.
I honestly zoned out during that match. I think I've seen it so many times in so many ways that it did not do anything for me.
The one thing that I noticed in this match, there was a point in the match where Hanma got tossed out into the crowd, gets taken and thrown way back into the crowd. The guardrail gets locked by Tama Tonga. Tiger Hattori starts the ring count. He gets to 18, and he just stops to allow Hanma to get back into the ring. And it's like Tiger would have got to 21 if he had kept counting.
He's 982 years old. He probably forgot.
He forgot what comes after 18.
Yeah.
It was taking him a while to think. 18. What comes next? 15.
I don't know. Maybe Tiger is too old to be a referee now.
Speaking of too old, maybe he forgot how to count to 55. I'm making a Group X reference. Probably nobody gets that.
Nope.
Yeah,
nope.
Sorry. That's old internet. That's like pre-YouTube internet. 55, 55.
You lost me again.
Over my head, or...
Yeah, just look up Group X 55. They start counting the fictional numbers.
And then look up All Your Base Are Belong to Us if you really want old internet memes.
Yeah, well, hey, as long as we're doing that, look up Mario Twins. God dang! Hey, call it the Mario Twins.
Or getting back to Tiger, maybe he was still suffering from what happened to him in the never open weight 6-man tag match.
Getting sprayed in the eyes with aerosol.
And a low blow, The Elite weren't very nice to him.
No.
Poor Tiger. He is 163 years old. They should treat him better than that.
Yeah. But yeah, that match just didn't do much for me. I'm glad they didn't hotshot those titles. I think, Tama and, is it Tanga or Tonga or?
I don't know if it's Tongaloa, Tongaroa, Tangaloa, Tangaroa.
I think it's Tangaroa.
I thought it was Tonga, but the L and the R are kind of interchangeable, so.
But yeah, they need to hold on to the titles right now, and we actually need, is the global tag thing from Noah finally over?
I'm not sure. I could Google it and find out.
I think Yano and Marufuji won. But yeah, Tenkozy needs to come back, and that we need some tag teams.
Yes, Tenkozy has been away, and yeah, let's look this up and see. For 2016, the final standings: Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Lance Archer, Killer Elite Squad, 10 points. Naomi Marufuji and Toru Yano, 8 points in second. It tied also with Go Shiozaki and Maebachi Taniguchi, and Shelton Benjamin and Takashi Segura, all with 8 points.
So it's still going on.
No, it looks like they did win because they beat the Killer Elite Squad.
Oh, thank God, because they tweeted me that they were going to kill Yano, and I said, please don't. He's an innocent. They tweeted me back and said they're going to kill him.
A match that went 20 minutes and 25 seconds. Yeah, Marufuji and Toru Yano have beaten the Killer Elite Squad, so congratulations. That's no easy task.
This means Yano's coming back to New Japan, right, where he belongs.
Hopefully, Tenkozy will be coming back too.
Well, I haven't missed them.
You haven't missed the Mongolian chops?
I have not missed, no.
Those are what, the crazy uncles?
Those are the crazy uncles.
The spaz chops from Kojima. It's like, yeah, I miss that.
But I've desperately missed Yano.
But he'll be coming back soon, and we had another title being defended again, and we have another title that wasn't hot-shotted. This was the Never Openweight Championship. Katsuyori Shibata successfully defended against Yuji Nagata, which was cool because
No,
Nagata
he
nailed
did not.
What do you mean?
Nagata
no, you're
won.
right. Did he? Okay.
Jason, what are you smoking?
Whatever it
And
was.
why aren't you
Maru and
sharing?
Yeah, here you go. That's right, he did. He nailed him with his own move, and then he nailed him with that backdrop. That's what it was.
Yeah, and remember Nogami just going nuts and,
Justice!
yeah, screaming the entire match.
Yeah, he is a big mark for Nagata. So we did have another title that was hot-shotted, which doesn't make a lot of sense because you're trying to build credibility in Shibata, and he loses it to Nagata, but...
Maybe they took it off of him so he can win the G1.
Maybe. I'd like to see him in a program for the Intercontinental title, too. I wouldn't mind him seeing him take that off of Kenny Omega, either.
Oh, God, he would kill Kenny.
Speaking of the G1, that starts tomorrow night on Access TV, last year's G1.
Oh, okay, so Friday night, so tomorrow night, Access TV is starting last year's G1 Climax.
That's right, I believe Abby got a sneak preview trailer of it.
I think I don't know if I got that one or not. I think I might have gotten a later one.
Oh, okay. Well, you got something good, I know that.
I'll have to double check that, but I think I got a sneak peek of a later one.
So, yeah,
but yes, if you missed the G1 last year, definitely, and you have Access TV, which like 95% of us in this country don't, watch it because it was great.
I thought their distribution was a little higher than that. Sorry, Jason, I didn't mean to jump on you there, but I thought Access TV was in more homes than that.
I don't have it. I think it's a direct TV kind of thing. I don't think cable companies carry it.
Comcast does up here. Or, I don't know about Comcast, but Verizon Fios does.
But yeah, I would like to have it because, I wouldn't mind hearing Jim Ross call a New Japan match every once in a while, but...
Shinsuke Nakamura!
Yeah, that just bugs me.
By God!
I love JR, but please learn to pronounce their names.
I guess I can live with it because I like JR's enthusiasm, even if his pronunciations are a little off.
Yeah.
At least he gets emotionally involved, which is more than you could say for anybody on Raw or SmackDown other than Mauro Ranallo.
This is true.
True, and the nice thing with Access TV is, especially with the G1 Climax, you don't have to wake up at stupid o'clock to watch it.
That's one reason I love Access TV. God bless them.
But that's part of the charm of New Japan. I mean, just think if it came on in the middle of the day, it wouldn't quite be the same.
You may have a
No, it wouldn't. There is kind of a special kind of internet wrestling community, IWC bonding of waking up at stupid o'clock and hopping on Twitter and live tweeting and
bitching about New Japan World. Although it's been rather good the last several shows.
Yeah, the Ring of Death has been staying away, so knock on wood, that'll keep staying away. It's been good. The streaming service has been very good. The live streaming as of late has been very good. Well, we can move on. We have another title match. We had Kushida taking on Jushin Thunder Liger for the IWGP Heavyweight, or Junior Heavyweight Championship. And yeah, this was an interesting match where at one point Liger tried to put Kushida in his own hold, the hoverboard lock. That was interesting to see.
Yeah, this was a good match. I mean, it wasn't as great as I thought it would be, but it was up there. It was like the second best match of the night.
It was up there. It was a good match given the two that were in it. It wasn't probably the best match that these two could have put on, but it was damn good. We had Kushida kicking out of the Shote. We had him kicking out of a brainbuster. Like I said, we had Liger putting Kushida in his own hold, which was just surreal to watch that. We got to see the typical Liger spots like the Mexican surfboard. We got to see Kushida's handspring elbow. And yeah, in the end, it was Kushida tapping out Liger with the hoverboard lock and retaining the title. So this was another title that wasn't hot-shotted because, yeah, frankly, if they had hot-shotted this title too, people probably would have rioted.
Yeah, maybe not, because I think a lot of people would have enjoyed a nostalgic Liger run.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, they are still Liger marks there over in Japan. The New Japan crowd loves Jushin Liger. I mean, he could wrestle till he's 104 years old, till he's Tiger Hattori's age.
Well, it's the same reason there are marks for Cheeseburger now, because he taught him the Shote.
I'm still a little bit shocked that Cheeseburger's not in the Best of the Super Juniors.
Best of the Super Juniors. I was sad about that, and I'm sad that Barbaro Cavernario isn't. And of course, as soon as I mentioned I was sad that he wasn't in there, he liked it and retweeted it.
Yeah.
You betcha. Good old
He just likes to be talked about.
Cavernario.
Well, I think the reason Cheeseburger's not going to be in the Best of Super Juniors is that he's become too big of a star for Ring of Honor now, and I'm not saying that facetiously. I mean, there is definitely a cult following around Cheeseburger.
Yeah, I know, but everybody in Japan loves him so much. Just think of the merchandise that Ring of Honor could,
Oh, they're busting out T-shirts left and right for him, and they'll ship them to Japan. Don't you worry about that.
I mean, they're sending Bobby Fish over. Since we're said we weren't going to talk about this, but now it appears we are. They're sending Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly over, so, I mean, why not, let Cheeseburger come on with them?
Well, all I'll say is I'm looking forward to Global Wars on Sunday because Liger and Cheeseburger will face the Addiction, so possibly my two favorite tag teams outside of the Young Bucks and Roppongi Vice in a match on Ring of Honor pay-per-view.
Oh, God, I forgot that was this weekend.
Yeah, that's where I'm saying it's A, it's Global Wars, B, it's New Japan Stars, C, it's Cheeseburger, D, it's just fucking awesome.
Everybody will be happy.
I didn't mean to interrupt Dontaku, though. I'll run down the entire Global Wars card when we're through.
Okay, and yeah, we won't go through the whole blocks, but yeah, one of the other big announcements that did come when they were announcing the blocks, Volador Jr. is coming for Best of the Super Juniors.
That was like the only big surprise in the announcements, wasn't it?
It sure was, yeah. I mean, I was expecting somebody like Barbaro Cavernario or Cheeseburger or some kind of surprise, but yeah, Volador Jr. was like, oh, alrighty then.
Wasn't he the one that during the Fantastica Mania came to the ring looking like he had skinned Johnny Mundo and wore his skin to the ring? Or at least wore his outfit to the ring?
I'm trying to think back to Fantastica Mania. All I can remember are Chaos and Barbaro Cavernario wearing the bones in their hair.
Yes, we know your love of him. Yes. You adore him, we know.
So do the Japanese fans.
Well, he kind of is not something they see all that often.
And yeah,
or any of the rest of us.
Nakamura, they seem to adore him too.
Well, considering that Nakamura used him as an art, palette every night.
Awesome.
His own personal canvas. It kind of makes me sad with Nakamura in NXT, though. He switched his love of, Rocky Romero. Now he's on to No Way Jose and Mojo Rawley.
Oh!
He's downgraded so much.
That is a severe downgrade.
Yes. It makes me sad, There's no longer that bromance between him and Ishii and him and, Rocky. Now it's Mojo.
Why of all people, Mojo?
Yeah, I don't know. And then No Way Jose. I don't understand that either.
Well, No Way Jose will be A-OK Jose as long as he drops that stupid gimmick at some point. He's a good wrestler. He's just got a bad gimmick right now.
There's a bunch of people that have bad gimmicks right now.
I'm still waiting for the Vaudevillains to change it up, but that's not happening anytime soon.
Oh, Lord.
We'll get
While
to
we're
that
on the
later.
subject of bad gimmicks, why don't we talk about Evil? Evil was taking on Hiroki Goto, and we had Mr. Crushed Velvet, Dollar Store Sky, Laser Fingers coming out here to take on the cousin Oliver of Chaos, Hiroki Goto.
I enjoyed the match because it was hard hitting and, they tried to kill each other, but other than that, I don't know. I'm not a Goto fan, and I don't think I'm ever going to be a Goto fan.
It's like I'm not a Goto fan, I'm not an Evil fan, but I was kind of glad that Evil came out, and as he was, coming out, he attacked Goto as Goto was coming to the ring. I was glad that they didn't waste any time, that they just kind of got to it, and after that, it was just kind of standard par for the course fare for these two. It was kind of like, Evil picked up the win with his finisher, the SDO, and I was like, great, Goto lost. That's what I wanted to see. It was a match.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Goto, they need to do something else with him.
Yeah, like send him to Noah.
Or somewhere else. I mean, I don't care. he doesn't fit in Chaos, and there's really nowhere else on the roster for him. I don't know.
Send him to All Japan or somewhere where he won't be on New Japan World, so I won't have to watch him.
I mean, he just sticks out like a sore thumb.
And he does not fit in with the other members of Chaos. He's like, the members of Chaos are fun and kind of have personality, where Hiroki Goto just isn't fun and has no personality.
No, he's just kind of there.
He's just kind of this serious guy with an interesting moveset that's boring as shit.
Pretty much, that sums it up nicely.
And it's like he's got a great moveset and doesn't know how to get over with the crowd. It's bad, and in Japan no less, which makes it even more baffling. It's like, oh, if you could just go to the store and buy some charisma, Gato, you'd be fine. But unfortunately, I don't think there are charisma stores in Roppongi.
I don't think they bottle that kind of thing over there.
No, just lychee juice.
Ew.
Squid juice. But yeah. Next match on the card, we had Kazuchika Okada taking on Sonata. This was a better match than the last one. Not as good as the main event, but I enjoyed this match.
Yeah, and it set up some good stuff down the road. I mean, Sonata didn't lose anything in losing the match. It's not like Okada really gained anything in beating him, but...
No, but I mean, the one thing that I really liked in this was Sonata did get to lock on the skull end submission, and he really had that on Okada for a long time. Okada really had to fight and fight and fight and fight to finally get to the ropes to break that hold.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he looked good in the match, but it was just like, I don't see why Sonata lost. I mean,
it doesn't make much sense, but if Sonata had to lose, I mean, if this was the way they wanted to go with it, I mean, this was a good way to have him lose. He didn't look weak in the loss.
No, not at all.
I mean, he nailed Okada with a tiger suplex that Okada barely kicked out of. He nailed Okada with a TKO that Okada barely kicked out of. He had him in that skull end submission for what seemed like 10 minutes as Okada fought to get to the ropes, so.
It was a very well-worked match and a well-booked match. I mean, both guys looked good. Sonata, like I said, didn't lose anything in losing. But I think they could have done more where these two could have had a program that extended a little bit longer.
Yeah, I really like to see the program extend longer because I like seeing these guys in the ring. Okada is a phenomenal worker. He's your ace of the company, and Sonata's a fresh infusion of talent that Okada hasn't worked with before. So it's nice to see him and Sonata in the ring, seeing something different and seeing them gel and work so well together in the ring.
They looked really good together. There weren't any missteps. There weren't any, obvious botches. It was just a really smooth match.
A smooth, hard-hitting match, which was good. Yeah, Okada, of course, does his Rainmaker Lariat to get the win, and we move on to main event for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Tomohiro Ishii challenging the champion Tetsuya Naito. Anything you'd like to say on the match here?
No, it was so good. It started off kind of slow and choppy, but like the last 2/3 of the match was just great.
Yeah, I for as much shit as I give Tetsuya Naito, I like this match. I like how Ishii was just kind of sick of his shit and just, not taking it and not taking it and spit on. And I think he did return the favor at one point and spit back on Naito. This was a good match. The only thing that really didn't sit right with me was the complete horseshit ref bump that Red Shoes took while Ishii had Naito in a leg lock. And Naito just kind of reaches up and rams Red Shoes' head into the mat. And of course, Red Shoes is out for like 5 hours.
Oh, of course he is. The thing I really liked about it was a wrestling match. I mean, you don't see Ishii work a leg like he did in this match a lot. Yeah, normally he's a, smash mouth wrestler. This was a wrestling match.
He worked the leg, and that seemed to be his thing there. I mean, there were still some hard-hitting moves from Ishii. He did have his lariat. He did have that really sick-looking inverted DDT where Naito landed on his head. I mean, there were some hard-hitting moves, but yeah, it was interesting to watch Ishii with the psychology of leg locks and working over the leg of Naito and, saying, maybe he'll tap Naito out with a leg submission and working that psychology. And it was different to see from Ishii, but it completely worked. It completely fits with who he is.
Yeah, but the thing I felt bad about is the show went over 4 hours, and TV Ashi only scheduled them for 4, so the people that weren't watching on New Japan World, well, they didn't get to see the end of the match.
Oh, wow. So the people who were watching it on television, like on
Yeah.
Asahi TV, didn't get to see it.
No, they missed it.
Oh, so that's what that Asahi TV logo was that came up on New Japan World. I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, it was like, I think that was the 30-second countdown. Like, you've got 30 seconds left, and they just didn't care. They just kept going.
I did not realize that. Wow. So yeah, we had Naito going over with his Destino finisher, retaining the title, and again, this builds up Naito. He looks like a strong, credible champion, and it didn't really take anything away from Ishii, who showed a nice submission style as part of his repertoire.
And it was nice to see that he brought backup this time, because for the first 3/4 of the match, though, Okada and Gato, I guess they were just there to look pretty, until they decided finally, oh, well, let's grab Evil and Bushi and stop them from getting in and interfering.
Yeah, while Naito was locked in a leg lock from Ishii, Gato and Okada grabbed both Bushi and Evil to keep them out of the ring, to make sure that they didn't break the count. And I mean, I guess that's one thing that I like. I guess I kind of like and dislike it at the same time about New Japan is if there's interference, they wouldn't call the title match and just throw it out. They just kind of let it go.
Well, they kind of work a little bit different. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's senseless and pointless. Normally it would have been a disqualification if somebody had grabbed the referee and slammed his head into the mat.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, good old Red Shoes. I mean, you could kneecap him in both knees with a gun, and he wouldn't disqualify you.
Well, and then after the match, of course, Red Shoes got the hell beat out of him and missed it, and Okada had a little stare off with Naito, so we know what's coming next.
That was weird, yeah. I mean, they stared each other down, but then he really quickly left the ring. It was a very brief stare down, and nothing really came of it.
I think that was just a little teaser of, okay, here's what's coming next.
So I guess next, where they're teasing that there's going to be a rematch between Tetsuya Naito and Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. So we will watch in the weeks to come to see where that storyline goes. But
we don't get anything out of them until next thing on New Japan is what? Lionsgate 2?
Juniors? Oh,
I think it's Lionsgate 2 is on the 19th.
Oh, that would be before, yeah, 20-something.
And then Best of the Super Juniors.
A whole 2 weeks worth of getting up at stupid o'clock.
Yay!
Yay for stupid o'clock.
Well, hell, I don't sleep, so it's not like it's a damn problem for me.
And yeah, you did touch on it too, that this went over for 4 hours. This was a very long card. This was longer than most New Japan pay-per-views are.
Yeah, but with New Japan, at least it doesn't feel like you're sitting through something that's never going to end, like a Monday night on Raw. It's like, God, please end, hurry, hurry. It's only been an hour and a half. It feels like it's been 3 days.
Or a Sunday night on the network.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
So we're going to transition into WWE now?
Not right away. I actually want to run down this Global Wars card first. Let's start with that. We have a pre-show match for people who are there live in the building. This will not air on pay-per-view. Women of Honor, and it should be on pay-per-view in my opinion, Kelly Klein and Crazy Mary Dobson.
Why aren't they putting the women on the pay-per-view?
Probably because they're going to make it another Wednesday night women exclusive for their YouTube channel.
Oh.
Seems to be their gimmick these days, but honestly, put the women on pay-per-view. Come on already.
Well, most people would enjoy seeing that out of Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I think so. And these women are crazy talented, too. No pun on Crazy Mary Dobson, but especially her in particular. I've been a fan of hers for a long time now. She's fucking awesome. So, I already mentioned Cheeseburger and Liger versus The Addiction, and apparently Abby's dog has something to say about that. No, it's not an actual cheeseburger, it's a guy.
It's just too bad this match can't take place in Japan.
You don't think they'll still work a very strong Japanese style?
Oh, I think they will. I just think the Japanese fans would eat up the tag team of Liger and Cheeseburger. I mean, they would mark out huge for that.
Well, they would probably mark out huge once they realized that Christopher Daniels was Curry Man!
That too.
There is so much Japanese goodness in that match. I cannot complain about it one bit. But I can't about the next match either. Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, yes, that's right, the Motor City Machine Guns back together again, along with Matt Sydal and Kushida, versus the Young Bucks, the Gorillas of Destiny. 4-on-4 match.
So not only do you have the Motor City Machine Guns, but you also have the Time Splitters in that tag team as well.
Yes, indeed. You've got all sorts of goodness going on. They really need, like, 2 nights of Global Wars, because I need these guys to all be split off into individual matches for tag teams instead of 4-on-4.
Oh, there's only so much time they can give them.
Right. And speaking of only giving us so much time, I wonder if that's why this match is non-title, because Kyle O'Reilly is taking on IWGP Heavyweight Champion Tetsuya Naito. Why not make it a title match?
I don't know.
That should be a hell of a match, though.
Yeah. Or is it going to be one of those situations where he wins in a non-title match to get a title shot? Is that what they're doing?
That's a possibility. O'Reilly had a very strong showing at last year's Best of the Super Juniors, coming out of his block, winning it, only to lose to Kushida in the finals. So O'Reilly is a very capable singles wrestler, and this should be a very interesting match against Naito. I wouldn't be surprised to see him win, but I'm not banking on it.
Well, if you're wondering if you're a longtime fan of Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, where's Bobby Fish in all of this? Well, he's wrestling Tomohiro Ishii, and the television title is on the line in that match.
Oh, God, Bobby's gonna die. I love Bobby Fish, but he's gonna die.
Yeah, probably. But that doesn't mean it won't be fun to watch.
I don't want to see Bobby get killed.
I'm not saying I want him to get killed, but if it's entertaining violence, I'm all for that.
Oh, yeah, glorious violence is a wonderful thing.
I want to see if Bobby Fish can hit that Avalanche Falcon Arrow on Tomohiro Ishii. I doubt it.
Probably not. But speaking of glorious violence, we have Michael Elgin and Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Kazuhiko Okada and Moose, with Geto and Stokely Hathaway in their corner.
Stupid Tana, stupid hair.
I expect lots of interference, particularly on the part of Stokely Hathaway.
Oh, hopefully Gato will neutralize him, or at least Gato's beard will neutralize him.
I was going to say, they might end up neutralizing each other and then cost Okada and Moose the match.
Could be, but on these shows there's always this lovely little, tradition of New Japan winning everything.
I'm not so sure that's going to happen here. I expect a few surprises, but the main event.
Well, we thought that on the last one too, but that didn't really happen.
Yeah.
On the anniversary show.
We can see Moose extract some revenge on Tanahashi for stealing the Moose taunt too.
I would love that. Just jerk his ponytail out. We know that damn thing's a weave.
Stupid Tana, stupid ponytail. Alright, well, there's no New Japan stars in the co-main event or the main event, so we don't have to worry about whether or not that's going to be all New Japan all up and down the card, because it's Mark and Jay Briscoe versus War Machine, trying to take War Machine's tag team titles.
That would probably be a good idea if they came off of War Machine and went on to the Briscoes for a while.
Except the Briscoes have been the champions so many times, and I'm not knocking them for it, because nobody has more Briscoe Brothers shirts than I do, but it just seems like that's kind of cliche for Ring of Honor now.
Well, I don't know. I'm still thinking along the lines of this whole working relationship that New Japan and Ring of Honor has. Hell, send the Briscoes over to New Japan.
Hey.
Yeah, we'd like them back in New Japan.
I got no objection to that, and if they're carrying the tag titles to do it, so much better, but it's just, I feel like War Machine, a lot of internet wrestling marks have not given them a chance.
We've given them a chance. It's just kind of like they're one of those teams that doesn't really, or at least to me, when I was covering Ring of Honor, they just didn't really do anything for me. I mean, they're big guys in a tag team that can do things that big guys normally don't do. But, I don't know, they just lack some charisma, I guess.
And I was trying to very specifically say internet wrestling marks, because I was trying to not call out you or Jason for this one.
Well, I don't like the term mark. I mean, internet wrestling fan, whatever.
You're
smart,
on AngryMarks.com, but you don't like the
I
term
know.
marks.
Smart
What
mark,
wrestling
whatever.
fan in this day and age doesn't have Twitter? Any wrestling fan is an internet wrestling fan in this day and age.
Well, yes. I've been having this argument with people all the way back to the 1990s about wrestling, music, and everything else. When people would go, well, you're just a nerd with a computer, and I would say back, excuse me, what are you communicating with me on? What are you using right now? How are you any better?
Exactly.
I mean, just because you're a fan that knows a little bit, that is more than just a casual fan, that doesn't make you, you know, I don't know what the term is I'm looking for, but this whole smarky marky shit is just ridiculous.
Right, and that's where I was going with it, really, was that sometimes people just get too smarky for their own good. Like, oh, they're just big muscle-bound geeks, they can't do anything, take the titles off of them. Well, shut up and give it a chance, because not everything is going to be glorious the first day. You got to give things a chance to develop.
Yeah, but how long have they held the titles, though? It's been a while.
Well, Jordan's trying to call in, so let's just talk about the main event real quick. Colt Cabana and Jay Lethal with Taylor Hendricks in his corner. He's defending the ROH World title.
I would love to see Naito get involved on Jay Lethal's behalf just to kind of continue that continuity storyline from Wrestle Kingdom 10.
Yeah, it should be
Why
a
is
great match.
Colt Cabana still a thing?
What's your problem with Colt Cabana? I don't understand.
I didn't say I had a problem with Colt Cabana. I just asked why he was still a thing.
He's got a devoted cult following. He's a great wrestler, and he's not being funny in this match. He's taking it very seriously.
Good.
All his promos about it have been super serious. Like, he will not feel that his career has been successful unless he holds the Ring of Honor World title. That's how important it is to him.
Well, at least he's not being the goofball Colt Cabana. That's a good thing. That's a positive.
Yes. So that's our Ring of Honor Global Wars card, but speaking of potentially being a goofball, not that I'm saying he is a goof, but he does entertain us with his goofy antics sometimes. Jordan J. Garber is on the line.
Jordan J. Garber has returned to the Angry Marks Podcast Network. Everyone listening from around the world, you guys are listening to the man, the myth, the legend, the man that is Jordan J. Garber. I am so glad to be back here on the podcast, talking right now as my voice is heard by thousands among thousands of wonderful wrestling fans around the world. Jordan Garber is back and better than ever.
To steal a line from Eric Bischoff.
I got 10 minutes, though. I got 10 minutes to chat some good wrestling with you guys and, talk about life, and it's going to be great, guys.
All right, well, then let me go ahead and just ask you a question to kick this ball off and get things rolling. Tell us about the interview with DJ Zima Ion, because I saw the transcript all over the internet.
Yes, I did it again. Jordan J. Garber overcame the odds and reached wrestling news headlines once again. I was in a show, that makes no sense whatsoever, but me and two Winnipeg Gut wrestlers went all the way down to Oconto Falls, Wisconsin, a 13-hour drive in the car, Oconto Falls High School for Under the Lights Entertainment, a great promotion, and Jordan J. Garber chilled with the likes of DJ Z and some other great Midwestern wrestlers. But yes, what happened was after the event, I did an interview with DJ Z, and I looked at him in the eye and I said, Zima, Michael, this interview is going to reach wrestling news headlines. I'm just letting you know. This is good for both of us. And he's like, I trust you, man. And I did it, sent it off, sent him the transcript. He's very satisfied with it as well. So, it's just great to be back in the news again, It's always good to kind of get that exposure and kind of get that back in again.
All right, but now I want to ask you personally, and not just specifically about the interview, but personally, in your opinion, do you feel Zima Ion has gotten a good break or a bad break being in TNA? Do you think they've used him to his full potential?
No, they haven't. You're looking at a man who has potential. You're looking at a man who's paid his dues. I know they say in wrestling that you never stop paying your dues, but this is a man who has busted his ass on the independents, and when he was in TNA, he made just that, an impact. former X Division champion, and I think what they're doing right now with him, I think why they're not putting him in the world title picture is because he's a very small guy. He's not that big muscle head that should be pictured as a world champion. So I kind of want to see DJZ get a push in TNA, and I want to see it as an X Division champion, or even one day down the road as a TNA world champion. But no, I think TNA could do so much more with DJZ. There's so much potential right there. You got a guy who can do it all, and they're leaving him hanging. So hopefully they can do more with this individual, and hopefully he can continue to obtain success like he has done throughout his wrestling career.
Well, I think he's already on the path right now that he's no longer with the Bromans. I think ever since he split off from them and went back to singles competition, that's been his road to stardom. But as you said, it may be a little tough for him just because of his size. He's not the biggest guy in the world. He's 5'8", 170 pounds. Doesn't mean you can't succeed in the wrestling business, because Lord knows Rey Mysterio and Daniel Bryan have both done great things being of smaller stature, but you really do have to work extra hard to get over when you're under 6 feet and under 200.
It was actually, speaking of DJZ in Wisconsin and that whole great experience that I was honored to be a part of, another good guy who should be brought up on the podcast to put over is none other than Dysfunction, also known in WWE Championship Wrestling as the Weed Man. This guy's a great worker, and he's another guy who you guys should really obtain interest in getting onto your show sometime in the future.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that. We've had some guys from the JCW family on the show in the past, so door is always open invitation to anybody that wants to come on, and glad to hear that he was a good part of the show, and hopefully you did an interview with him as well.
Well, there will be an interview with him in the future. And like I said, I am back on Thursday Night AMP every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central, for all of my Canadian friends that are listening in, and also friends from the Midwest. And guys, honestly, you, Stevie J, have given me the opportunity to shine, and you've let me do that. And I want to thank you for the opportunity, and I can't wait to be back on next week, guys. I'm back in action, and it's going to be great.
Well, before I let you go, Jordan, I know you only got a few minutes tonight, but give us your thoughts real quick on Payback, and then we'll break it down between the rest of us after you take off.
I think Payback was a really good pay-per-view because it had the opportunity to showcase some of the new talent. There wasn't, like, you've seen all the Mark Henrys, the Big Shows, and John Cena's. We've seen them for, 10 years in the WWE, but to see all these new guys coming up from NXT and getting their start, and them getting on to Payback and getting on their pay-per-view and having that exposure was pretty good. I thought the pay-per-view was great. I thought AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns was great. I don't like how WWE keeps shoving Roman Reigns down fans' throats. Fans should have a voice and get what they want. But, you know what? That's just the nature of the business. I thought the pay-per-view was a success, and, out of 10, I'd probably give it an 8.
Wow. That's a very thumbs-up review from Jordan, but I will trust your opinion. It is yours, and you are entitled to it. So thanks for the review, and we will catch you next week.
Catch Jordan J. Garber live on AngryMarks.com next week. Talk to you guys soon.
Yep, and everybody follow Jordan J. Garber on Twitter, @Jordan J. Garber. Thanks, Jordan.
Not a problem, guys. Take care.
All right, we'll see you later. So that's our run-in by Jordan tonight here on Thursday Night AMP, but I don't think Abby or Jason are giving 8 out of 10 to Payback. So Abby, I'll start with you.
I'm sorry, I'm about to go upstairs and kill my fucking neighbors if they don't stop stomping on the damn floor. It's kind of distracting me a little bit. I've had a day where I just want to kill people,
Yeah, I heard that noise, and I thought it was your dog, tapping his foot.
Oh, no, that's the fucking idiots upstairs who are about to get the damn cops called on them.
Oh, man, I'm sorry, but vent that anger. Tell us what you thought of Payback. Get it out of your system.
It didn't suck, but it wasn't great either. I don't know. I didn't appreciate the main event. I'm probably one of the few people that didn't really enjoy it or like it. Instead of it being a match about AJ and Roman Reigns, it was a match about Shane and Stephanie, which was just stupid. I mean, if AJ had to lose, I guess that was a way to have him lose and keep him protected at the same time, but I don't know. It didn't really do much for me. It was more about the McMahon family and their fucking drama than it was the people in the ring, which is never a good thing in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll get into the McMahon drama a little bit more when we go into detail, but let me just get your 1 to 10 since Jordan already put it on 1 to 10.
I'm not going to put it on a 1 to 10, but I'll put it this way. WrestleMania 32 was an F for me. This show Payback was about a C- in my book. It wasn't as bad as WrestleMania, but it wasn't good.
Well, if we translate that from a grading scale to a 1 to 10, that would probably be like a 7 then.
Oh no, that would be about a 5 or a 6. If we're going to go 1 to 10, I'd give it about a 5 or a 6.
I would do the same.
Okay, well that's more like a D or an F then.
No, WrestleMania was like a 30, like a 0 to 30% F. This is a little bit better this is better than shit in the bed and flunking out of school, but not by much.
Alright, so we're grading on a curve is what you're trying to tell me then.
Oh yeah, WrestleMania just completely wrecked the curve. It's like, it's gonna be hard to be as shitty as WrestleMania 32 was, ever. But.
See, this is the problem I have, and this is totally because I was there live. It doesn't seem like Payback was better than WrestleMania. Maybe if I'd been sitting at home, watching it on my couch, it would feel that way. But right now, WrestleMania was a better experience just because I was there. Whereas Payback, it was a dud to me. It started out dull and it ended in a McMahon soap opera, to put it as Abby put it. So, it felt like the whole thing was bookended by mediocrity.
There's also kind of that asterisk and footnote to it where it could have been better had the one match not been stopped abruptly, too.
Right. So, let's just go over it from the beginning to the end. But the true beginning, I didn't even see. I'm not going to lie, I slept through Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler. So
I missed it
did
too.
I
did too.
I saw Kalisto and Ryback, but I didn't see Ziggler and Corbin. His stomach scares me.
Yeah, I was just completely exhausted, and I thought to myself, if I don't take a nap during this pre-show, I'm never going to get through the rest of it. And I didn't even realize this match had been added to the pre-show. I thought there was only one match, and that was Kalisto and Ryback, so I was not prepared for this.
I don't think a lot of people were, because I missed it.
Yeah, so for the sake of history, Ziggler defeats Corbin, which only makes me ask, what was the point of bringing him up? If you're going to have him lose to Dolph Ziggler on the pre-show, and I'm not trying to knock Dolph Ziggler by saying that, but I'm just saying it's the least important match in the least important spot, and the guy who doesn't even need the win because he's been there forever got the win. So it makes no sense.
I completely agree.
All right. Jason, any additional thoughts?
When you have Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Corbin in the first match of a pre-show, there just really is no winner.
Okay, then. But speaking of no winner, for the second pay-per-view in a row, Ryback is on the pre-show, and he's doing the job. And this led to a lot of drama this week in the world of professional wrestling, starting with the fact that he came out wearing a weightlifting belt that said, the pre-show stopper.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to mention that if you didn't. That was awesome.
It was awesome, but it's also the kind of thing that when guys do shit like that, you can tell they don't give a fuck who in the office they piss off. And that became evident on Monday night.
Hopefully he stays gone.
Well, Vince McMahon don't want him to come back anytime soon, so...
Neither do we.
Yeah, well...
I will say this. I mean, with all the drama that came out about him, with him being sent home and the contract dispute and the whole trademark deal and, all of this equal pay for equal work because everything's predetermined and the loser should make as much as the winner, which is not stupid. And I'm working on a column for Top Rope Press that'll explain this more, that'll be published tomorrow, about the whole wrestling union deal. Is it time for that or not? If this is how he wants to be, then let him be this way. He spoke his mind, he spoke out, and got sent home.
Yeah. And he's got an opinion, and he's entitled to it, but I think the counter-argument to that I've heard that makes the most sense to me is that there's also a lot of stuff that goes on in Hollywood and the recording industry where you would say, they're all equal contributors. They're all equal contributors to making this movie. They're all equal contributors to producing and recording this album, but there are stars and there are people who are not stars. And you don't pay the person who sits at the board engineering the album the same amount of money that you pay Kanye West. And you don't pay the person who runs the catering and the lights and the gaffer cables the same that you pay The Rock. There are stars and there are people who are not. There are people who, in wrestling parlance, bring the house. And Ryback is not a guy that brings the house. So why are you going to pay Ryback the same amount of money you pay Seth Rollins or John Cena or anybody else that really does bring fans?
That's one thing I want to chime in on too, Stevie. Like you're saying, he doesn't bring the house, and he has been relegated to the pre-show. What I don't get is he comes out and, he kind of does like what Zack Ryder did with YouTube and trying to get himself over with this, whole pre-show stopper thing, which to me is just downright damn clever for where they stuck him. And if management has a problem with what he's wearing, it's their fault for sticking him on the pre-show. I think he's kind of making the best of a bad situation by poking fun of it and making light of it, saying, I'm the pre-show stopper. And if that's getting him heat with the office, I mean, he's doing his best to grab the brass ring with the shit spot he's been given. And I think it in no way, in the eyes of the fans, reflects poorly on management. It's just him saying, yeah, I'm always on the pre-show and I'm going to, kind of poke fun at it.
Well, I know Abby's got something to say, but real quick, I doubt that their issue is him making fun of his spot. I think their issue is him making demands that are above what they believe is his level of star power. Now, Abby, to you.
Basically, what it boils down to is who the fans pay to see. If I'm going to a WWE show, I'm not going because I'm paying to see the WWE brand. I'm not paying to go to a show to see just whoever's on the card. People pay to see John Cena and Dean Ambrose. They're not going to pay to see Heath Slater and Fandango.
Right.
They pay to see Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch and Charlotte. They're not going to pay to see Summer Rae and Cameron.
Right.
It's a matter of who the fans are paying to see, whether it's predetermined or not. And we all know that outcomes are predetermined. We all know that a star only looks as good as his opponent and vice versa. But that doesn't mean that Fandango and John Cena, who I can't stand it too, should make the same amount of money because the fans aren't paying to see Fandango.
I kind of disagree.
They're paying to see John Cena.
I think the fans do, in a sense, pay to see the WWE brand. It's a different kind of fan that's evolving now, the kind of fan that travels to WrestleMania despite who is on the card. I mean, I think you could completely strip everybody off the card of any name recognition, and the fans would still turn out to any pay-per-view just to see a WWE pay-per-view. I do think there are fans like that. I'm not advocating that Ryback should get more money, but there are definitely fans who go to WWE events just because they're going to WWE. It's the thing to do.
Except you just brought up WrestleMania, so I have to make the counter argument that ticket sales were not what they projected them to be until they announced that Shane O'Mac was back. And as perplexing and mind-boggling as that might be to some people, Shane McMahon brought the house. People bought tickets just to see Shane McMahon do something stupid with The Undertaker. That's when ticket sales took off again.
And on a Sunday night in Columbus, Georgia, people are not going to go spend $100 on a ticket to see Fandango versus Ryback. They'll pay $100 for a ticket to see John Cena on the card, or Dean Ambrose, or Seth Rollins, or Sasha Banks. If they put a card out there that had all of the lower mid-card, the lower card talent on it, sales for house shows would be worse than they are right now. I mean, you have 7,000 people in attendance, and WWE considers that a good house show.
Which brings up an interesting question, because you have we're talking hypothetically about running a card with lower mid-card talent, but then at the same time you've got NXT that's now branching out, which is developmental, which can easily sell out arenas. So, I mean, I guess
it's because NXT is a much better product
Indeed.
than WWE.
And it's got a niche cult following, which is why you'll get 10,000 people to fill an arena for NXT, because it's perceived as the cool thing.
But that's like for NXT.
I would say there's more fans that would go to see NXT as a name, because anybody who's going to be on NXT wrestles a vastly different style than WWE.
And NXT is actually a name that I think fits your argument for people will come just because of the letters. I think they'll come expecting great wrestling because it's NXT.
True. But that's like, I wouldn't go to an NXT show if it was, and this is just me again, if it was Cameron and Mojo Rawley and Zach, I wouldn't go to it.
Right. You want Shinsuke Nakamura and Kana.
Samoa Joe and, yeah.
Right.
Asuka.
I'm with you on that, because
there was a show in Jacksonville not too long ago, and it's like, oh, I'll go. I'll drive 3.5 hours to Jacksonville. And then I looked at the card and I was like, I ain't going to Jacksonville for this.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where the majority of fans pay to see their favorites beat up on people they hate. They don't pay to see Fandango come out there and shake his ass in a match against Heath Slater.
No, and I think that's Ryback's problem, is his ego is getting in the way here. It's not as though the idea of a wrestlers union isn't a bad idea and could be beneficial in the long run to everybody, but he is not the level of star where he can go in there and demand these changes and get people to rally for him. He can get Cameron to support him. He can get people outside of WWE like Brian Cage to support him, but he is not going to get the entire locker room to all turn on Vince McMahon, because they're just looking at Ryback like, you're just one big meathead that's not over. Why should we go down the tubes with you?
Yeah, and one thing that a union, and this is one of my arguments, one thing in a union that should never be argued for is equal pay for equal work. Because it's never going to fly.
Right.
Everybody might get together and do collective bargaining for health insurance and a retirement fund and a pension plan and stock options and shit like that, but not equal pay for equal work. Even most people who have no idea about the business can say, well, that's just stupid because you've got bigger stars in this area than guys that are opening the show.
I just want to throw out a very obscure example, but I hope people will look this up when I make the reference. Harrison Bergeron, a short story by Kurt Vonnegut, where the goal of the United States Handicapper General, which is a position that was created in this book, in this short story, was trying to level everybody out and make everything equal rights, equal pay, everybody's equal in every way. So as the handicapper, she had to actually put weights on people so that tall people would hunch down more, and put springs on people so shorter people would be taller. She was trying so hard to make everybody equal that everything sucked. And that's what you're going to get if you try to level it out and say everybody gets equal pay for equal work. Then you're not going to have stars anymore, because why is the guy going to go out there and bust his ass and be charismatic and be a star if he's making the same amount of money as a guy that sucks?
Exactly.
All right. We got far afield there. Not that I'm complaining about it, but maybe we should go back to Payback. And then we have something unfortunate to talk about, because Enzo Amore got hurt in the opening match of the show.
God, that was just scary.
I didn't understand what was going on. The fact that they kept putting the camera on it, I thought it was part of a sell job. I'm like,
so did I.
I'm just looking at my wife and we're talking about it. I'm like, they wouldn't keep showing this if he was really hurt. And then they carted him off to the back. I'm like, okay, that's really awkward. The match just ends like that. I mean, if it was part of a work, they would have had him get back in and sell it in the ring. So that's when I knew he really was hurt.
Yeah, that could have been a hell of a lot worse than just a severe concussion.
Apparently, it was 2 concussions. I guess the first one came when he took the running knees in the corner, and then while he was loopy from that and the ref didn't even know it, that's when he snapped his neck off the ropes and had a second one.
Oh.
So, that's no good.
It was no good, but it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah. Yes.
People backstage,
glad it wasn't as severe as it could have been.
Right.
I was thinking it was going to be a lot worse, and it was like concussion. It was like, okay, that's not good, but it could have been worse. It could have been paralysis.
Right, and people were coming up backstage to Bret Hart going, oh my God, he broke his neck. That's what the locker room's reaction was.
I mean, you could see it on Kevin Owens' face when he came out for his match against Sami Zayn. It was like just this glazed look of, we don't know what the hell is going on and why are we doing this?
Right. Yeah. Maybe not quite the deer in the headlights that we've seen at other times with other things, like when Lawler had his heart attack, but definitely everybody was on pins and needles there for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So this match was a no contest. We moved on to, as you said, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. And I have something good to say and I have something bad to say. and we'll see if you guys agree with me or not. The good thing is, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn almost can't have a bad match with each other. They've been doing this for so many years in so many different federations, long before they got to WWE. They know the formula, they followed the formula, and for the most part, it worked. Not anything I haven't seen them do before, but not anything bad either. That's the plus side. The minus side was commentary immediately ruined it for me when JBL said, "They just stole the freaking show!" Like, no. The announcers do not get to decide that for the fans. The fans, of their own accord, will decide whether a match stole the show or not. By saying it stole the show, you just ruined it.
And weren't they calling moves wrong in this match? Like saying a Michinoku driver was the Blue Thunder Bomb. And then when he did hit the Blue Thunder Bomb, it was like that was a special Blue Thunder Bomb. It's like, what the hell?
I give no thumbs up to the announce crew for any part of this. They did everything wrong.
They did everything wrong, but I like this match. Now that JBL said it, I don't know if I want to say it stole the show, but it was a good match. These two always put on a good match. I was surprised that Kevin Owens won. I hope the feud continues down the road because it is damn entertaining. But yeah, I mean, this match went as long as it needed to, about 14 and a half minutes. And it was wonderful.
Abby?
I enjoyed the match. I mean, it was it wasn't a WWE match, which was very refreshing. I hate commentary. I just can't stand them. They're stupid. They can't get people's names right, the names of moves right. I just, I don't get it. I don't like them. I mute them. I want somebody to ball gag JBL and hog time and beat the shit out of him. It's just, he's horrible. Byron Saxton sounds like he's either calling a funeral or a golf game. And Michael Cole's just a moron. And it's like they ruined perfectly good matches. They had a great match, but commentary just sucks.
And speaking of that, Kevin Owens immediately joined the commentary team for the next match, and this is where I have to say something good and something bad again, because something good, Kevin Owens is fucking hilarious. The guy knows how to get his shit in, and it's great when he does. The bad part is, the Kevin Owens show had literally nothing to do with this match. As entertaining as it was, hearing him berate the announcers for how awful they are, it had nothing to do with the match we were actually seeing on TV.
But at least it distracted me from the fact that The Miz was in the ring. Kevin Owens on the mic is 100 times more entertaining than The Miz is in the ring.
That's true. But here's where I take that whole you stole the freaking show thing a little too... It just irks me, because Cesaro is actually the kind of guy who can go out there and steal the freaking show. And the fans should get to make that opinion for themselves instead of having it be told to them by the announcers. Because, okay, most of us will agree The Miz sucks, or at least he's not the guy you want to give a title and run with it, and he's only getting it because Maurice is back. We all agree on that, I think. But Cesaro can make even people who suck look good. And I thought he did.
Yeah, but this is the WWE. Don't you know that we're supposed to like what they tell us to like?
Yeah, if that worked, Roman Reigns would be over right now.
Exactly. I mean, we're supposed to like what they tell us, and we're supposed to be brainwashed by them, and we're not supposed to have opinions.
Well, my opinion was Cesaro deserved the title of stealing the show just as much as anybody else.
Well, Cesaro deserved the title, period.
Yes.
Agreed.
But WWE is more concerned with Maurice and Total Divas and promoting the next season of that than they are of actually, putting their championships on wrestlers that will, I don't know, give them a little bit of prestige and not make them a laughingstock.
I don't even know why they care about Total Divas so much anymore, because that show has precipitously dropped off a cliff in terms of ratings and viewers. It's gone from over 1 million average to like 600,000 average. If it dwindles any further, it's going to be an Impact Wrestling range.
Because Vince McMahon adores anything that's mainstream media.
Yeah, I suppose he does, but the show also is incongruous with the product they're presenting everywhere else, where they've dropped the term divas and now refer to it as the women's division, and yet you've got total divas on E. What?
Do you really expect continuity and logic from WWE after all these years?
No, but I still in vain wish for it, whether I'm going to get it or not.
Oh, yeah, we all do, but it's never going to happen.
Well, speaking of what we're going to get and what we're not going to get, whether we want it or not, Chris Jericho, who I know Abby has not been a fan of late, and Dean Ambrose, but maybe we did get what we want here because Ambrose actually picked up the win.
Yeah, but it wasn't a good match.
And it went really long. It was, like 18 and a half minutes of
Yeah, it was
Chris Jericho trying to keep up with Ambrose?
Almost 20 minutes. It was very, very long. It felt like they knew something needed to fill time because of what happened in the tag match, so they padded this one out a bit.
It was the wrong match to pad.
I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I can't put it any better than that. This match was this pay-per-view in a nutshell for me.
I'm just tired of Jericho. I mean, I used to be a huge Jericho fan, but not anymore. And I'm not really sure why. It could be, that he's lost a step, that he seems to be phoning it in, that...
And he just kind of hasn't
everything
kept up
is
with
just
the time
kind of
with his humor either.
Yeah, everything, his whole shtick has just gotten older. Hell, it could be the fact that he seems to be allergic to shirts. I don't know, but there's just something that is just, he's not clicking with me anymore.
Those damn scarves.
Well, we move on from that to something that almost made me turn off the TV and stop watching altogether.
You and me both.
In 2016, they thought it was a good idea to recreate the Montreal Screwjob.
Not only that, they wanted to do a mashup of Little Nate and the Montreal Screwjob.
Yes.
With no explanation or anything to fans who are, less than 25 years old as to what any of this means.
Right, and they're even screaming about it on commentary like they assume everybody knows what they're talking
about.
And
it's always going to be that way with Bret Hart, always, because Vince just gets a kick out of it.
And Bret Hart was against it. In his interview on Sharpshooters or WrestleZone Radio, whichever one it was, he said that he thought it was a really dumb idea and flat out told Vince McMahon that, like, come on, we can come up with better than this.
Obviously
and I think they could have too.
Yeah, well, Bret doesn't get that much say in the product these days, so whether he liked it or not, if he was getting paid, he went out there and did what he was told to do.
I mean, this is one where you could have had Bret, run around the ring and hold Ric Flair from getting into the ring. You could still have Charlotte win, but at least have him be that equalizer instead of just standing at ringside doing nothing.
Right.
Yeah, he looked absolutely thrilled.
For God's sake, though, we definitely don't need Charles Robinson calling for the bell, running in there, and then running away like he has to run for his life. Like, no. Can I say no a few more times? No. Hell no.
Stupid finish and...
Stupid finish, stupid match.
I blame
probably
Tanahashi 50%
of... Yeah, probably 50% of the crowd and the audience didn't even know what any of that meant.
No, so it was a complete waste of time. It didn't get over. People didn't understand it, and the people who did understand it hated it.
Mm-hmm.
So, from there we move on to Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles, which was set up by Vince McMahon coming out and moderating a debate between Shane and Stephanie as to who should run Raw, and his big grand conclusion was, you both should, you're both in charge, now go out there and eviscerate each other. So, they had to come out and play one-upsmanship with the main event, each overruling the other and adding something to the match.
And boy, was that a letdown. It's like I was expecting something bigger, like a brand split, or him to pick one or the other, or say one could run Raw or one could run SmackDown, but we get you both run it. What the fuck?
Yeah, this is the wishy-washy Eric Bischoff, Steve Austin angle they did in, 2004, I think?
Co-general managers.
I'm glad you remember that, because I thought I was insane by saying it, but I figured that was. I hated it. I hated it then. I hate it now.
It doesn't make any sense. I don't know how many times I can say it doesn't make any sense.
You can say it 100 times. It's our show. We can say what we want.
It doesn't make a damn bit of sense.
No.
I don't know. I didn't like the whole premise of that match to begin with, because we all knew that Reigns would win, and that AJ was the sacrificial lamb and all that shit to make Reigns look strong. It was a decent match. It wasn't great by any means, but it was decent. AJ can have a decent match with anybody.
It was a decent match, but Styles looked just completely weak and got completely buried because every finisher except one, the Styles Clash, Roman Reigns kicked out of, and that's just because he wouldn't let AJ Styles hit it on him.
Well, see, I don't like the term buried. I think that we knew that Reigns would win. I just wanted it to be a countout or a disqualification or something to protect.
We knew Reigns would win, but we didn't know that he would make AJ look so weak in the loss. We didn't know that Roman Reigns would kick out of virtually every finisher that AJ Styles has. That was my problem.
Well, Chris Jericho did the same thing.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying it's a burial of AJ Styles, because they're neutering his moves, basically. They're saying his moves don't matter. We can kick out of all of them.
Well,
of course.
Abby's right, though, that we overuse the term burial, because it's not a burial to be in the main event of a pay-per-view, although the way he's going to be booked going forward could be a burial if he doesn't get better than this.
Yeah, and I mean, he's already got so much baggage. Was the face of TNA. He's never going to be WWE champion, ever.
Watch you say that, and then they'll do something screwy like have him win Money in the Bank and cash it in and win the title.
Well, I just don't think that Vince wants the former face of TNA and a former TNA champion and IWGP champion. That was another thing that pissed me off with Michael Cole. The former IGWP. Fucker. But, I don't think Vince is going to have AJ Styles be the first man ever to hold the WWE, the TNA, and the IWGP championships. I just don't think it'll ever happen.
I guess part of me thinks that Vince the Contrarian will do it just to prove everybody wrong. Like, you marks thought I would never do this, but I will.
No, because he's still hell-bent on getting Reigns over.
That doesn't work. It hasn't worked. It's not working.
Yeah, but look at what they did when they put the pictures up on the WWE website.
Are you talking about the Dad Jeans picture?
No, there was somebody when AJ did the forearm onto the table, had a big yellow sign that says "When it rains, it pours."
Oh, right, and they blurred out the sign.
Yeah, they scrubbed it, till it just said "Reigns" on it. Mm-hmm. When they put the pictures up on the website, I was like, "You fucking idiots! You're still doing this shit."
It's only
seriously
going to rile up the fans who don't like him even more. If you don't let them express their displeasure, they're just going to get louder.
Yeah. And the thing is, most people, I know a lot of people boo Roman Reigns because everybody else is doing it. I don't like the man because I don't have a reason to like the man.
Well, they've just completely flattened out his character into the point.
What character?
Okay, well, let me make the argument. You can disagree if you want. The character, if you want to call it that or not call it character, used to be, I'm a badass, I hit people, I spear people, I destroy people. The character now is just this middling tweener who you're not supposed to either like or hate because he's not a bad guy and he's not a good guy. He's just the guy, which was something some writer in the back came up with and thought was really clever to get around the fact that he's being booed right now. But it doesn't stop people from booing him because now they're like, you're jamming him down our throats and this guy doesn't even have any character because he's just the guy, which means he's just a guy.
When he was in the Shield, I can see that whole, I spear people, I Superman punch people, I'm the muscle. But once the Shield broke up, it was kind of like, okay, give me a reason to care about this guy. You completely repackaged Seth. Okay, so I can hate him now because of what he did. Okay, you completely repackaged Dean Ambrose. Okay, I can care about this guy because he's going after Seth and it's retribution and vengeance. I can cheer this guy because I like him. With Roman, it was, hey, I'm just here. like me because I've got good hair and, I still have the Shield music and I still come through the crowd and I still wear this stupid ass vest. So like me because of that. Like me because I'm The Rock's cousin. Well, we saw that sure as hell didn't work.
Well, speaking of cousins, why did they bring out the Usos to match off with Gallows and Anderson, and why did they continue that on Raw? It's like, this does not do either of them any favors. It doesn't help the Usos, because now they're tainted by Roman Reigns, and it doesn't help Roman Reigns, because people who already don't like him don't like the fact that he has backup.
No, they continued on SmackDown, too.
I haven't even seen SmackDown yet, so go ahead.
I'm just saying, everybody knows the main event on SmackDown was the Usos versus Anderson and Gallows.
Right,
that was announced.
Right,
I won't spoil it for you.
No, I know. I got the same sheet that you did. I want to watch it to determine if it's as bad as I think.
Well, no, I mean, I'm just saying they continued the whole all of this people together. I don't know why they're doing it. I mean, hell, nobody else likes Roman. Why not pair him up with family? That seems to be the only people that can tolerate him.
I don't know. I just think it ends up burying your tag team or former tag team champions, because they used to be kind of popular themselves. Not saying they brought the house or anything, but they were kind of that mid-card to mid-upper card tag team, and pairing them with Reigns is not going to do them any favors.
This whole thing.
Big, boring guys with neon face paint, and nobody likes them.
Nobody liked them before. I mean, when I say oosh, you say, oh, well, yeah, fine, whatever. It's like when I say oos, when you say oos, I say no, because no, I don't like you. What else are they going to do with it? I mean, seriously, unless they completely repackage him, like I've been calling for a year now, what are they going to do? If Vince is so turned on or whatever by his face and his hair and his body and his look, and what are they going to do?
Well, they're going to ride this horse until it falls over dead, because, like you said, it's something in Vince McMahon's personality. He likes big athletes, he likes jacked up guys, he likes guys that have that GQ look, and he thinks Roman Reigns has that look, and he's going to keep on going with it, because he thinks that he can lead us like a horse to water and make us drink it whether we want to or not.
It's not working.
It's not, but Vince McMahon has a track record of pushing people into things they don't want and getting them to like it, so he thinks he can work miracles.
It's just, I mean, it's doing Reigns no good. It's doing the fans no good. It's doing the product no good.
And this match was no good. Well, okay, it was decent.
It had its moments, but its moments were AJ. Its moments weren't Roman Reigns.
Right, it was seeing AJ leap high in the air and hit that flying forearm to Roman Reigns' head. That was a moment.
Yeah, and putting him through the announce table. Those were the moments. I remember those. I don't remember anything Roman did that sticks in my mind.
No.
Other than getting counted out.
Other than a spear out of nowhere to win the match. And it's like, really? One spear? You kicked out every finisher AJ Styles threw at you, and you're going to beat him with one spear.
And honestly, for my money, a count out would have actually been the great way to have him turn heel. Like, okay, this guy knows AJ was going to beat him, so he has to chicken shit his way out of the match. That would have been great heel heat if they had actually gone with it.
And I'd have been fine with that, yeah.
Or even that disqualification. Fine, great. It protects AJ in a loss. Not having him kick out of everything and get pinned clean. It did nothing for either man in that match.
No, and the McMahons did not add to it, they subtracted from it. They made it worse.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's why Payback was a dud, because it started with a bad match and it ended with a bad match.
At least, though, Enzo didn't break his neck, which was a good thing.
Yes, small blessings. Enzo will be okay, although he won't be back in action until he clears the impact concussion test.
Which will probably not be for a while.
No, they're talking like 2 or 3 weeks minimum.
I would keep him out longer than that.
Yeah, well, I guess it depends on whether he can pass the testing or not, because, I mean, there's passing the testing, but there's also giving the brain time to heal, and they're not always the same thing.
Yeah, and with how Enzo works, you want to give him as much time as possible before he starts bouncing around like a Mexican jumping bean again.
Exactly. And for God's sake, if you're going to do a baseball slide, get far enough back from before you start sliding that you don't run into the ropes.
I think he was already knocked out before then.
Well, I know that. I already said that he had one concussion going into it, but that probably didn't help his timing, but he also, it just looked like it was ill-advised in general. Like, maybe you could have gotten a little further back before you even started sliding.
There was also some talk about the ring, the ropes being too tight, that the ropes hadn't been loosened after the Kalisto match.
That's possible. I don't know how much they tweak it. I mean, I've been at live shows where I've seen them working on the ring, but I've never noticed them purposefully tightening them up for a luchador. I've never seen them do that.
Oh, I don't know. Kalisto almost killed himself during that match.
Well, working with Ryback, that's not hard. I mean,
Well, Ryback saved his neck, literally.
Yeah, but Ryback has also dropped people on their neck.
Well, hopefully we don't have to worry about Ryback anymore. And all these idiots out there that are calling for him to go to New Japan so that they can see how much he can improve without being, held back and held down. Shut up.
How much is he going to improve at this point? He's already been around for 10 years.
Go to TNA.
Yeah, that's going
Yeah,
to
Stay away
TNA
from
is
Japan.
a good home.
We're going to see that on our news wire. Breaking news from John Gaborik.
Just stay away from New Japan. I don't
Speaking
want to see him and Elgin in a match. No. Everybody out there talking about this shit, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about.
All right. Well, since TNA was brought up, let's briefly touch on the fact that they have gone out of their way to parade all of the stars they have signed or re-signed in the last week and a half. And according to Wrestling Observer and several other websites, they're trying to leverage their position for a buyout by saying they have all these people under contract. Do you think that works? Abby, I'll start with you.
Well, considering the caliber of people that they've announced and the way they're doing it, no, not really. And especially since one of the big names, Sienna, is already hurting out.
That's unfortunate, because I like Allison Kay. I thought she was phenomenal in everything that I'd seen her in up till she signed with TNA. So the fact that she's not going to get a chance because of an injury is unfortunate.
And the fact that it's coming out now that they owed Bobby Roode and Eric Young over $100,000 combined when they left. The fact that these idiots will not update their website and are still promoting the fact that Austin Aries and Bobby Roode and all these guys are still on their roster. I mean,
well, they don't have enough people on payroll to update their website. They're working out of a warehouse.
Yeah, but it's a big warehouse.
Yeah, but they can't staff people in it because they don't have the money to pay anybody to do it.
They just need, and Dixie needs to swallow her Southern pride, which I know is a difficult thing to do, but just swallow it and say, I have failed miserably in this business and I need to save whatever face I have left and do what is best for my talent. I don't want to keep control of the company. I will, maintain a minority share. Just somebody come in and save it. Or that or shut it down.
Right. If she wants to negotiate anything out of this, she should come up with, I keep 20% and I still get to be a figurehead on TV, but I no longer have say in the day-to-day business operation.
Because she sure as hell don't know what she's doing.
I wouldn't say she's never not known anything about what she was doing, but clearly in 2016, the ship has sailed.
Without her.
Yes. And Jason, any additional thoughts? Do you think this leveraging of contracts helps or hurts or does no favors to anybody?
The thing that crossed my mind, you're saying, these stars that they have and these stars that they signed is going to leverage a buyout somehow. The thought kicking around in my head is TNA has stars? Who do they have? Honestly, who do they have that would be attractive to anyone buying them out?
I would say Matt and Jeff Hardy, probably.
Gail Kim.
Jade.
Maybe James Storm a little bit. Mm-hmm. Although his stock went down after that whole NXT debacle.
True. I guess Eric Young isn't really in NXT, by the way. He's only there on a per appearance basis.
Well, after his shocking debut this week.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
I know.
I can't believe that Samoa Joe and Eric Young main evented an NXT show in 2016.
I don't have a problem with that. I think it was too quick of a burn. They should have done a storyline where Eric Young talked about their past and their history and, the main event mafia, if they can even work that into NXT, if they can get away with that.
Well, how can they do that when they can't mention TNA?
Well, I'm saying they could have made the subtle tease of history with the two, because they managed to do that with Zayn and Generico without mentioning Ring of Honor or PWG, so it's not like it's beyond these people to do that.
Yeah, but TNA is just like, for some reason, you can't mention them, you can't acknowledge them. It's like the vast wilderness, where Sting was for a dozen years and
Christian
where
was
James
for 3
Storm
or 4
was.
years. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and AJ Styles was for a decade.
Will they talk about it? My favorite segment on the Edge and Christian show.
No, they won't talk about it.
No.
Oh, they got a good burn in on CM Punk this week when they said, will they talk about it? CM Punk's debut in UFC. And Edge is like, yeah, they'll talk about it if he ever has one.
Well, it seems like it's just never going to happen.
Well, between getting injured, training, and being injured before he even signed with them, it's a never-ending shitstorm of bad luck. Which Punk always said luck is for losers, but maybe he could use a little good luck right now.
That, or he's just doing all of this for publicity and to keep his name out there, and he really has no intention of ever debuting.
I think his pride would get in the way of that. I think he would debut just because he committed to this and he would not give up without at least trying.
Well, he can say he's tried from all the training he's done, but, in a couple of weeks it'll be his shoulders messed up, and then, he'll break a nail in training or something and be out, for another 6 weeks, and it's just never going to happen. I just don't see it happening.
I don't know. I don't think UFC would be very happy if they wasted the time and money to sign him to a contract and give him training, and he never did anything. I don't think
well, he's gotten a lot of publicity.
Yeah, but with UFC in particular and mixed martial arts in general, publicity only matters if you have a fight at the end. Otherwise, it's for nothing.
I don't know. I guess time will tell. Maybe this time next year we'll be talking about the same thing.
I would at least say 50-50 on that, because they haven't announced a fight for him this year, so... Well, they
might debut in 2020.
Right. They did announce a fight. I should correct myself. They just didn't announce a date for the fight, so... Not quite the same thing, so I'll clarify that. He will fight somebody at some point unless that guy gets tired of waiting and leaves.
Yeah, or, retires or dies of old age.
Oh, you are just cranking up the heat on Punk right now. But
I don't have a problem with Punk. I really don't. It's just this whole UFC thing to me has been kind of funny. Because first off, he said he would never do it. Secondly, it was like, okay, I might do it. It's like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then ever since he said, I'm going to do it, it's been a never-ending cycle of I'm hurt, I'm getting better, I'm rehabbing, okay, I'm training, whoops, I'm hurt again, got to have surgery. It's like just one thing after another.
To be somewhat fair to him, though, he had a lot of pre-existing injuries from wrestling that he probably didn't account for.
Oh, please, he knew about every single injury he had, probably. Like I said, a lot of this has been publicity to keep his name out there.
Yeah, I'm not saying he didn't know, but maybe he didn't know how much they would keep him from training, because he'd always done wrestling training, and he'd never done, the rest of the training beyond just rolling around on the mat doing some jiu-jitsu. He never considered the toll that it would take to do kickboxing and sparring and actual grappling as opposed to sports entertainment wrestling.
I don't know. Like I said, time will tell.
Yes, and Jason's sitting over here on the sidelines, telling time, listening to us go on about this, because he's probably like, it's UFC, what the fuck?
It's CM Punk, and we may see him, we may not, but yeah, every once in a while I get interested in UFC and I'll watch it, but yeah, if CM Punk does debut, I'll be sure to watch that, but yeah, until then, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yes, indeed. But if you want to hear more about CM Punk and whether or not he'll debut, you can always listen to Glove Up or Shut Up on Wednesday nights, right here on this very website, AngryMarks.com. Peter H. and I break down all the latest news, and sometimes we have fighters on for interviews as well, so it's always worth stopping by to see what we have going on. And speaking of what we have going on, Abby, what do you have to plug?
New Japan World, as always. I need to just tattoo that on my forehead, get New Japan World, the best 999 yen you can spend a month.
$9.99.
I think this month it was $9.40. I think that's what got charged to my card this month.
That's right.
But yes, New Japan World, PuroCentralShop.com, for all of your Japanese wrestling merchandise needs, that and harass, Kevin at Puro Central on Twitter because he loves being harassed ever so much. Let's see, what else? Oh, Top Rope Press, you can find me there. And I'm also now, as soon as I log into the website for the first time, I'll be writing for Angry Marks.
Woohoo! Abby is on board.
Yes.
Awesome. We can't wait to see. I'm so excited. I'm getting tongue-tied. Tongue-tied. I'm tongue-tied. Jason will know that song.
Why can you see through me? Tied tongue, whenever you're around.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, Red Dwarf and the Cat. Great song.
Well, that's my segue to Jason since I botched my excitement over Abby. So what do you want to sell this week? What do you got?
Yeah, I'll plug Red Dwarf because I think they have a new season coming out in 2017. So definitely pirate Red Dwarf because that's coming out in the UK. Check out back episodes of Red Dwarf and back seasons of Red Dwarf. You'll have to pirate those too, but I completely condone you pirating it because it's an awesome show. Of course, veggiebending.wordpress.com, my vegan cooking blog. AngryMarks.com, your source for wrestling and MMA news. And on Twitter, I am at Great Sudoku. I wake up at stupid o'clock and I live tweet New Japan events. Come and join me.
Yes, and Abby does too, at Abby A. So follow them both on Twitter, and you can follow me on Twitter at AngryMarks. And you can also follow our producer Kevin when he's here at CamNet. He had another commitment tonight, so I filled in for producer role, but I don't mind doing that because Kevin works so damn hard around here doing so much for us that he needs a night off there and here. So kudos to Kevin. Follow him on Twitter, and even follow Jordan at Jordan J. Garber because he's a wacky individual and we love him, and we'll keep having him on the show as long as he can keep bringing that to us. So thanks for listening to Thursday Night AMP. I'm out, y'all. Thanks again. See you later.